Hello viewers, you are watching Bureaucrat 1 video. In this video, we will see the decay of Mughal Empire. In the 19th century, we saw the death of Mughal Empire in 1803 and subsequent burial of Mughal Empire in 1857. But the decay of Mughal Empire started in the 18th century after the death of Aurangzeb in 1707. So what are the causes of decline of Mughal Empire? There are four main causes for the decline of Mughal Empire. First and foremost, it was intolerant and expansionist policies of Aurangzeb. The second one, and the nobles destroyed the administrative machinery and the finances of the state. Next was the physical breakup of the Mughal Empire. This happened due to disintegration of empire by the emergence of semi-independent states. The final blow to the Mughal Empire came in the form of the foreign invasion by Nadir Shah and Abdali and subsequent plundering of the North Indian states. Now coming to the policies of Aurangzeb, his intolerant attitude towards non-Muslims like destruction of temples and imposition of jizya, attacks on non-Muslims affected the empire, and the expansionist policies of Aurangzeb created enemies across Rajputs, Marathas, Jats and Sikh rulers. This affected the stability of the empire. Thus, his policies of expansion and intolerance affected the stability and the unity of the empire. The later Mughals and the nobles. Who are these later Mughals? Later Mughals are all those Mughals who ascended to the throne after the death of Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb died in the year 1707. Three of his sons fought for the throne, and 65-year-old Bahadur Shah emerged victorious in this fight. Learned, dignified and able ruler. He reversed many policies of Aurangzeb. In case of Hindu Rajas, he followed a tolerant attitude. In case of Marathas, he gave a half-hearted conciliation. In case of Sikhs, he made peace with Guru Gobind Singh, but then he suppressed Banda Bahadur, who came to the throne after Guru Gobind Singh. In case of Bundelas, he maintained peace with Bundela chief Chattarajal, and Jat chief Churaman joined the campaign against Banda Bahadur with Bahadur Shah. But despite his ability, the administration deteriorated. His policy of appeasement, conciliation and peace through promotion and jagirs deteriorated the state finances, which further accentuated the deterioration of administration. And unfortunately, within 4 years after ascending to the throne, Bahadur Shah died in the year 1712. His 4-year reign was not enough to revive the empire despite his abilities. Usually, after the death of an empire, civil war breaks out between his sons and princes. Nobles merely aided these princes and sons to the throne, but the conditions changed after the death of Bahadur Shah. Administration deteriorated, and the rise of less able successors gave rise to the nobles. Therefore, after Bahadur Shah, two types of players entered this game of thrones: the king aspirants and the kingmakers, or the nobles. Common traits of these two players. In case of emperor, the emperor was usually weak, degenerate, lacked manners, dignity and decency, and he is wholly devoted to pleasure. In case of nobles or the kingmakers, they were powerful, clever, tolerant, cunning and an able de facto ruler. This created a king-kingmaker power struggle. This power struggle template repeated itself with every subsequent king and kingmaker until the disintegration of the Mughal Empire. Kings were weak, fickle-minded and were afraid of powerful noble, yet want to become a de facto ruler by deposing of the noble, while the king made power and tried to revive the empire. The other nobles and king aspirants conspired against the king and kingmakers. This internal power struggle caused immense damage to the administration of empire. After Bahadur Shah's death, one of his less able son, Jahandar Shah, became the king with the help of most powerful noble Zulfikar Khan. Zulfikar Khan became his wazir and de facto ruler. He continued the policy of appeasement, conciliation and peace with Rajputs, Marathas, Jats and Bundelas. But with Banda Bahadur, he continued the policy of hostility. He made an attempt to improve the finances. He checked the reckless growth of Jagirs. He compelled the Mansabdars or the nobles to maintain their official quota of troops. These nobles didn't maintain an official quota of troops as a cost-cutting measure. And also he introduced a revenue forming system called, instead of Todermal's land revenue settlement. This one evil tendency encouraged by him led to oppression of peasants, because under this system, revenue farmers or the middleman pays a fixed fee to government and is free to charge whatever they could from the peasants. So they charged exorbitant rent from the peasants. But many jealous nobles and unscrupulous favorites of Jahandar Shah poisoned Emperor's ears against Zulfikar Khan. So he began to intrigue against Zulfikar Khan. This template repeated with every other subsequent kings and kingmakers. Within a year, in 1713, Jahandar Shah was replaced by his nephew Farrukh Shah with the help of Syed brothers. They are Abdullah Khan and Hussain Ali Khan. The king-kingmaker struggle template repeated again, so Syed brothers killed Farrukh Shah in 1719. The two young princes chosen by Syed brothers rose to the throne in quick succession but died due to tuberculosis. And then an 18-year-old Muhammad Shah became emperor with Syed brothers' support. Syed brothers are called kingmakers because they created 4 kings, and they are also their puppets. Syed brothers continue the policy of appeasing Marathas, Jats and Bundelas. They also abolished jizya and pilgrim tax, followed the policy of religious tolerance. They faced lot of challenges. Administration disintegrated due to constant political rivalry, quarrels and conspiracies in the court. So the state finances also deteriorated, as externally Jamindars refused to pay rent and internally officials misappropriated. The salaries of soldiers could not be paid regularly. So the soldiers were mutinous and they became indisciplined. Against this background, a powerful noble group under Nizam-ul-Mulk and Muhammad Amin Khan, with the support of Emperor, challenged Syed brothers. All these groups conspired against Syed brothers. The murder of Farrukh Shah was viewed as a namak haram, that is, not being true to the assault, and the religious tolerance of Syed brothers was viewed as anti-Mughal and anti-Islamic. This king-kingmaker struggle template repeated again, and Syed brothers were killed in 1720 and was replaced by an able and powerful noble called Nizam-ul-Mulk. Nizam-ul-Mulk had a great opportunity to revive the empire. Muhammad Shah ruled for 30 long years, and Marathas were still confined to the south. Still, Rajputs were loyal to Mughals, and Mughal army was still strong. But then Muhammad Shah was weak-minded, frivolous. He neglected the state affairs, even shared the bribes taken by his courtiers, under the influence of corrupt and worthless flatterers. So again, the king-kingmaker struggle template repeated. This resulted in Nizam-ul-Mulk founding the state of Hyderabad in Deccan in 1724, leaving the empire in the hands of Muhammad Shah. This marked the physical breakup of Mughal Empire. This followed by hereditary Nawabs carving out semi-independent states in Bengal, Hyderabad and Awadh. Maratha Sardars started expanding towards north. They already overran Malwa, Gujarat and Bundelkhand. Against this background, Nadir Shah, a Persian ruler, wanted money to fund his continuous war in Persia. These above 3 things culminated in a war at Karnal on 1739 between Mughal Empire and Nadir Shah. War in Karnal marked the invasion of foreign rulers of Mughal Empire. This invasion followed by series of plunders between the years 1738 to 1767. Nadir Shah plundered between 1738 to 1748. After his death, his able general Ahmad Shah Abdali plundered Mughal Empire between 1748 to 1767. Nadir Shah also carried away the Kohinoor diamond and peacock throne of Shah Jahan. His total plunder was estimated at 70 crore rupees. This allowed a 3 years tax break in his kingdom. He also captured the Mughal Empire west of Muhammad Shah. and massacred a people of Delhi. Again, during Ahmad Shah Abdali's plunder, the plunder continued, physical breakup of empire and the subsequent foreign invasion by Nadir Shah and Abdali completely shattered the Mughal Empire. In fact, Marathas were more powerful than Mughal Empire at this point of time. It was Marathas who were fighting the Mughal Empire's wars. And this resulted in Third Battle of Panipat between Marathas and Ahmad Shah Abdali. But Marathas were defeated in Third Battle of Panipat in 1761. This ended the revival of Mughal Empire and the ambition of Marathas replacing Mughal Empire. After this war, Mughal Empire ceased to exist in practice. It was merely a kingdom of Delhi. Finally, an able king, Shah Alam II, ascended the throne in the year 1759. But then, he didn't have any real empire to rule. In 1760, it was reduced to kingdom around Delhi. Subsequently, in 1764, in the Battle of Buxar, fought between East India Company and Mir Ghazim of Bengal, Shujauddaulah of Awadh and Shah Alam II. Battle of Buxar was won by East India Company and Shah Alam II was reduced to a pensioner. And then finally in 1803, Second Anglo-Maratha War, which is also called as Battle of Delhi, concluded in defeat of Maratha powers. Now, the Mughal Empire, which was reduced to the Delhi Kingdom in Battle of Panipat, was further reduced to a political friend for the British Empire. The most important consequence of decline of Mughals is it enabled the British to conquer India. And none of the Indian powers rose to claim the heritage of Mughals, for they were strong enough to destroy empire but not strong enough to unite them. Now let's summarize the decline of Mughal Empire in 250 words. Aurangzeb's policy of intolerance and expansion affected the stability and unity of the empire. After his death, despite the tolerant policies of able Bahadur Shah I, the state finances worsened due to reckless jagirs and promotions. His early death after ascending to the throne, plus his less able sons like Jahandar Shah, gave rise to new power contenders like Zulfikar Khan. Nobles were powerful and able de facto ruler. They reversed the policies of Aurangzeb and attempted to improve the finances and made Hindu, Sikh, Jat and Marathas. But the conspiracies and political rivalry of other nobles and fickle-mindedness of later Mughals like Muhammad Shah destroyed the administration, drained the state finances and turned the army rebellious. Therefore, these nobles like Nizam ul Mulk carved out semi-independent states in Bengal, Hyderabad, Awadh, which started the physical breakup of the empire. The final blow came through repeated plunder of Nadir Shah and Abdali, which completely destroyed state finances and administrative machinery. Plunder resulted in the death of Mughal Empire as an all-India force in 1761 after the Battle of Panipat. The revolt of 1857 was the final nail in the coffin of already undead empire.